The Day Before is a game that kind of came out of nowhere. Its announcement trailer popped up January 27th, a couple months ago, and it immediately garnered a lot of buzz for its impressive graphics and ambitious scope. At the time of writing, there's not a whole lot of solid information out there about this game though, so we want to try to put together all the info out there we can find in one video. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, what is The Day Before? Before we get going, just want to say we're going to avoid speculating a whole lot here, and just stick with presenting information that is confirmed and definite, at least as of now. Could things that are stated here change? Absolutely. We're still early in development process, and that tends to happen a lot of the time with almost every game, so bear with us on that front. But we are saying stuff that developers have said or appears explicitly in trailers. This is a game that we definitely think people should watch out for, so it's worth the time, but we don't want to be making stuff up either. So what is it? The Day Before is, as described in the announcement trailer, an open-world multiplayer survival game. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world ravaged by a zombie plague, and you play as a person trying to survive in this desperate and dangerous world. At its most general, this is not a groundbreaking sounding idea, however, it's really in how they're doing it that has caught everyone's attention. Now you might imagine this has caused a lot of comparisons to games like DayZ, The Last of Us, and even The Division, and they're not too far off, at least from what we've seen in the trailer. Now, that's not to say it looks like a direct ripoff of any of these things. These all are fairly different from each other games, so to combine them into one thing is obviously going to bring some kind of different result, but keep in mind the comparisons we're making here. Visually, the game looks pretty impressive and very cinematic, like The Last of Us, while the snowy city, complete with Christmas decorations and open-world PvP combat, suggest a kind of Division-like experience, while the apparently huge world and cooperative multiplayer component seems most similar to a game like DayZ. So, there are quite a few multiplayer post-apocalyptic survival games on PC. You've got stuff like Rust, The Long Dark, the previously mentioned DayZ, but none of them hold a candle to this upcoming game, at least visually speaking. The level of graphical fidelity that's shown in these trailers is just a cut above everything else in the genre. Another noticeable difference is the seeming lack of jank. What we've seen in the trailers looks impressively fluid and functional compared to other games of this type. Of course, these are just trailers and are obviously designed to show us the game in the best possible light, but still, even acknowledging that, it's hard not to think the developers might have something at least unique in that respect here. And you'd never know it from looking at the devs' previous work. The most notable game they've worked on before this one is The Wild 8, a top-down survival game that is in some ways similar to this one, but graphically, The Day Before, it's a huge step forward. It doesn't even look like the same kind of thing. The announcement trailer gives us some ideas about how the game actually plays. In it, we see a team of two co-op partners, as made clear by these names in the corner, scavenging items in a city environment. To me, it looks a lot like New York from the first Division, but I can't say with absolute certainty that the game takes place in New York or not. One thing that immediately makes this game stand out is that you can drive a car. Another longer gameplay trailer shows more driving in it, and though it's set in the wilderness, it's just as visually impressive as the city. Mud deforms around the tires in a way that's reminiscent of the game Mud Runner. It even seems to cause the car to struggle a bit to get through it. The same trailer also shows the car getting repaired, with a lot of specific options regarding how you can fix your car. In another scene later on, we see a gang of people rolling up on this farmhouse with their sirens blaring on a police car, which suggests there will be different vehicles you can drive that have different functions. Once the players leave the car, the act of scavenging is mostly the same as you would expect from other survival games. Go up to an abandoned car or store shelf and hold down F while you collect items and crafting materials and so on. The item menu is probably still being developed, but from the brief bits we can see from the trailers, they seem clean and easy to navigate, so that's a definite plus. Things get particularly interesting though when enemy players come into the picture. It looks like a large part of the gameplay involves shooting it out with other players. It's all done in third person, and again, the level of polish seems seemingly on display here is very impressive. There are different weapon types like machine guns and shotguns, and seemingly different armor types as well. In the longer gameplay trailer, one of the players is sporting some riot gear, which we assume must provide some protection, though the actual inventory menu doesn't really show anything like armor stats, so we're speculating. You know, like we said we wouldn't do a lot of, hard not to here though. Like other certain zombie games, making a lot of noise can draw in unwanted attention. Get into a fight in a dangerous spot in like say a formerly populated city, it can lead to a swarm of zombies coming after you. This also demonstrates something unique and cool about the game, how open the world actually seems to be. You are not limited to looting small stores. You can actually take the elevator up floors in these buildings and explore a seemingly darker and more dangerous territory. And dangerous places don't seem to just be in the city either. The long gameplay trailer shows players opening up what looks to be a bunker with a foreboding entranceway connected to this seemingly random farmhouse. What purpose these areas serve we don't know, though the game mentions a search for answers in its description. Does the game have a story the player can follow, or does that just mean there are like notes and audio logs to find? It's something else at the moment that we don't really have information on, but there's obviously a lot of different possibilities. One of the biggest unknowns in this game relates to one of its most intriguing features, in fact. The reveal trailer cryptically mentions a colony of survivors, which is also brought up in the game description. Basically, none of this part of the game is shown in any way in the gameplay trailer so far, so at the moment, we're relying on the description from the game's website and Steam page here. Take part in the restoration of the former society before it's too late. In the survivor colony, you can sell your loot and communicate safely with other players. This seems to imply that there is some kind of social space within the game. Whether there will be multiple locations like this or if there's only one, the game does seem to emphasize a singular colony every time this is mentioned. It's not something we can really say. For sure there will be a place to sell your loot in some capacity though. How that's going to actually work, your guess is as good as mine. In the reveal trailer, it shows the characters getting a message from the Woodbury Survivor Colony that says they're opening the doors for new survivors. Is this meant to be a player-controlled area, or is the message supposed to be delivered by an NPC? Honestly, kind of hard to tell, given the way the trailer is presented, and as of right now, there's no indication one way or the other. And it's pretty clear from the trailers that the game world is very, very big. The first trailer might make you think this could be a Division-like game that restricts you to a few city blocks, but that is very clearly not the case, as the later trailers show off a seemingly massive wilderness area that you can drive through. Survival gameplay seems to be pretty straightforward from what we've seen. The UI shows 4 bar as a snow symbol. That implies just staying warm is important, something similar to the long dark. Another long dark connection is the fact that there seems to be weather events in the game like snowstorms as seen in the reveal trailer. There's also a stamina bar with some kind of little electric symbol, a thirst hunger meter with the water droplet symbol, and below those is a health bar, which is shown to be restored with a very Last of Us style bandage, which is shown to be crafted by 2 materials, an herb and a rag. So while this is simple sounding stuff, it does give us indications as to exactly what you can and have to do during the game. This menu also shows a few other remedies that you can craft, what looks like a splint, a larger health item, and some kind of pills. All in all, the way crafting and combat and looting works feels a lot like it was inspired by The Last of Us, which in my opinion is actually a good thing. There's a smoothness to the actions that also has a very Last of Us feel to it, and that's a big reason why we think people are interested in this thing. Combining some of the gameplay of The Last of Us with the stunning world of The Division and the massive openness of DayZ sounds like a real winning formula for a game in the survival PvP genre, and the level of polish shown in the trailers for this game makes it stand out way above the rest. At the moment, the game is only slated for release on Steam, with its release date set to coming soon, so right now we don't really know when to expect it actually comes out. In regards to a possible console release, this article from gameranx quotes the developers as saying, "Wait for a special announcement," which seems to imply that they actually do have something to announce. You wouldn't expect a developer to say that if the special announcement was just gonna be like, "No, we're not doing that, thanks for asking." Still, though, until they actually do announce something, we really just do not know. The Day Before is definitely a game to keep an eye out for in the future, and this is almost certainly not the last time we'll be talking about it. But what do you think? Leave us a comment, let us know. If you like this video, click click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. The best way to see them first is of course a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on GameRanx.